Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Whatever, Whenever, the show where we talk about whatever we want, whenever we want. I am Robin.
And I'm the Mentok, with a normal introduction today.
Nice. And I think we were definitely wrong a couple episodes back when we said that Gen 9 of Pokemon wouldn't be for a long while.
Yeah, like, my pride is kind of hurt, because normally I'm pretty good at these types of predictions. And I must say I'm quite surprised that Game Freak decided to pull this. So I guess we should break it down a little bit, huh?
Yeah, so for those who don't know, they had a Pokemon Presents, which is kind of like the Pokemon Nintendo Direct, essentially. They had one of those yesterday as of recording, which was Sunday, and in it they showed off like a bunch of minor stuff, like a few updates to like Pokemon Go, Legends Arceus, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, the other ones. And the real takeaway, though, is that they did this whole live-action trailer that everyone thought was going to be Detective Pikachu 2, but it actually turned out to be a little teaser trailer for Generation 9, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, before we even get to Scarlet and Violet, what was the deal with that trailer? Was
don't
there
know.
something I was missing there? Like, because I didn't watch the whole... I almost called it direct, but I didn't watch the whole thing, right? I just watched the announcement. And I was wondering what the correlation was with that live action security guard being like destroyed by like the mystical Pokemon world. I have no idea what was going on in that trailer.
I don't know, but it's definitely like memorable, I guess. Which I learned from this that apparently there was going to be a Detective Pikachu 2, but the film got canceled.
Yeah, I heard that was scrapped.
Yeah,
I heard the game is not necessarily scrapped.
Yeah. Yeah, so that sucks. But hey, Gen 9, which of these starters do you like most? Just on how they look.
Man, I'm always like a water person, but I gotta say I really like the grass type this time around.
Same, I love the Weed Cat.
Weed Cat, is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, that's what they're calling it.
So this is Gen 9. We have a cat, a crocodile, and a penguin. Some bird,
I think
a
it's
swan,
supposed to be a duck. I think it's a duck.
Or duck. Didn't we have a duck starter already?
Yeah, no, we have like two different duck Pokemon, but neither of them are a starter. We had a penguin starter.
I'm just wondering, like, how cool can the last form of a duck be? I'm just kind of like hoping that, you know, this water type is badass, but yeah.
Well, the YouTuber Lotston said that the duck, like, you know, he like even said like in his video that it's just baseless speculation based on the trailer, and he like was very upfront and jokey about that. But he said that like if it is inspired by Spain, which is what a lot of people are saying the region looks like it is, then the duck Pokemon could be inspired by Don Quixote. The first, the first postmodern novel.
Yeah, even it based on like the name. I forget the name already, but it's definitely a Don Quixote reference, and yeah, it's definitely Spain. I don't think there's any debating that. I don't think Nintendo has confirmed it, but yeah, the architecture and just the look.
Some people have said Italy, but I don't think they're right.
Yeah, I've seen more like correlations to like the Barcelona area and stuff like that.
Yeah. Which, it's cool. We have like a Spain region. What do you think of the human models? Because I'm very mixed.
They look a little different, right? I noticed that.
They look more real. Like they look closer to the trainer models in Pokemon Go. How those are like uncanny valley realistic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I mean, because when I played Pokemon Go, I'm like, what is this?
Yeah. What is this fake?
This is so jarring. But like, I remember people were lusting after the female trainer silhouette in that game. Oh man, we can't give the internet anything. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe it's something I have to get used to. Because
Yeah,
I noticed it's like just a slight difference. I mean, it's not full Pokemon Go, but it's like a hybrid.
it's like
Between.
it's somewhere in between Let's Go and Actual Go, which is weird because it's still kind of got like that almost chibi aesthetic that Let's Go has, and then like it also has the more realistic thing that Go has. It's just kind of weird.
And I did um I did like what I saw in the overall trailer because it looks like it's gonna be open world. Or I think they
I think they confirmed that.
this. Yeah,
They confirmed that it's going to be open world.
and just as a quick difference between that and Legends Arceus. So Legends Arceus isn't necessarily a full open world. It's more of like a hub style mission based, much like Monster Hunter in a sense.
Yeah, it's like a Monster Hunter, or I think some people compared it to Banjo Kazooie almost.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you have these large open areas, but it's not necessarily open world. I've heard that based on the marketing of this game, they've confirmed that it's fully open world. So like, you are walking along a path and you'll go straight into a town and then it goes straight into the next route or whatever, which is what I was saying I'd like, right? Like as a hybrid. But
Yeah.
I must say that the graphics were a little jank.
Yeah, they looked. I mean, granted, we need to stress this. It is gameplay, not final.
That is true.
Like, I know that like when Legends Arceus and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl were coming out, like I would use that argument, and then someone would be like, "Oh, that doesn't mean anything. They don't change anything before release." And then what do you know? They showed off trailers where Legends Arceus had a better frame rate and Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl looked way much better and all that stuff.
I actually like the look of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. Like, I know Game Freak didn't work on it, but I think just for the sake of a remake, I like that chibi style that they went with.
Yeah.
But I mean, with that said, now that I'm thinking about it, there's a lot of fucking Pokemon games out there right now.
Yeah,
there's
are.
There's no lack of Pokemon this year and last.
No, that's why I was thinking for sure that this Gen 9 would come out next year, and I kind of hope it gets delayed, but I'm not going to hold my breath because it's Pokemon. They never delay anything, for better or worse. And, but yeah, we've gotten Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, we've gotten Legends Arceus, we've got
Pokemon Snap was also
Pokemon
last year.
Snap,
Yeah.
We've got a whole bunch of stuff.
Not to mention ongoing support for Pokemon Go and
Pokemon Unite for all of you sad people who play that.
Yes, there is that too. I never got a chance to actually play that, but
I don't want to. It's like it's a MOBA, and I don't fuck with MOBAs.
Well, I haven't played League of Legends in like a decade.
Good.
So
yeah, there's let me see. Oh yeah, they did announce something cool in that Presents thing, which is that they're doing kind of like what they did with Twilight Wings, where they're gonna do an online anime series for Legends Arceus. It's all set in Hisui.
Oh, so wait, they're doing a thing for that?
Yeah, they're doing an anime. They
Interesting.
They showed it, but and by showed it, they basically announced that it was in development and showed like a painted drawing. So, yeah.
That's a start.
Yes. And we still don't have any news on Pokemon Sleep.
I think they canceled that.
I think
there's so many memes behind Pokemon Sleep. I think that they finally just decided to cancel that.
Well, I don't know, because people found that they had like sleep data recently put in Pokemon Go. So, who knows? Maybe.
I'm trying to figure out how they would gamify sleep. You know, like
Yeah.
if you sleep at an appropriate time, your Pokemon will level up or something. I'm trying to see how they would like integrate that, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
So maybe that's why they're just like, this idea is not sticking. Like, we need to make this a little bit more fun because, yeah, it's one thing to have Pokemon Go where you're like walking around and doing stuff, but like to do that for sleep, there's only so much you can do there. So I think that's like their conundrum. But if they manage to figure it out, your boy's gonna try it out first thing.
Yep. Same.
See, what else do we know about Gen 9 though? So we know it's open world. It's a Spain influenced region.
Yeah.
We have more realistic models. We know what the 3 starters are.
The Pokemon look good. They look like closer to Snap, I'd say.
Yeah. So I think that they're slowly doing the models as each game goes by. Like they're kind of having next gen models for each of them.
Well, I think they're still the same models because they future-proofed them when they made X and Y. That's why those games run like ass, because there's so many polygons on every model.
That explains all of that then.
Yeah.
How many were in X and Y? Did you remember?
It was every single one up to that point, which is like 600 or 700 by that point.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good amount then. Yeah, they did put a lot of work into that. Props.
Yeah.
Props, Game Freak.
Yes. They have a website. I think Hisuian Zoroark is going to be in Gen 9, which is interesting.
I really like that design.
I do too, and I love that it's a normal ghost type, because that's such an interesting type that they never used until then.
And doesn't ghost stuff not work on normal Pokemon? Something like that?
Yeah, it's like normal moves don't work on ghost, and ghost doesn't work on normal.
Yeah, so that's definitely an interesting combination that they went with.
Yeah.
So for Gen 9, I think I definitely want gyms to come back. Because I do like the spectacle that was introduced in Sword and Shield, and I know it's not going to get back to that stage of the game, but I do like a crowd being in the gyms. So I'm hoping, I don't know if they're going to do it, but I have a feeling they're going to do some bullfighting crossover.
I think that would be interesting. I don't know what they have planned for gyms and all that, but I'm interested to see what their take is on it. I felt like the gyms in Sword and Shield were a little bit lacking.
In what sense do you think?
I don't know. Like, some of them were interesting. Like, I like that you had to catch Pokemon in the fire gym, but just the puzzles didn't seem like as good as earlier games, honestly.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, they're forgettable actually, because I forgot there were even puzzles.
Yeah, there were puzzles.
So that's a good point, because in earlier games, like, I don't want to say they were great,
but they were there.
They were there. Like the one that stands out to me the most. I mean, I've played Red and Blue the most, honestly. Yeah. So that's the one that's like fresh on my mind most of the time. The friggin' Fuchsia gym, where you have to walk through invisible walls. I don't know if you guys are familiar with listening out there, but the Fuchsia gym is like the poison gym, but the main guy is like a ninja or whatever. So you have to like walk through like all these invisible walls to get to him, and it's just the most annoying thing. And you have to fight like every single trainer along the way, so it's quite the grind.
Yeah, and you're like the thing is, like, they're all disguised as Koga, at least in Let's Go. I don't think they're like that in the original game.
Yeah, it's not like that in the original game.
Yeah, but like,
but they'll say you'll never get to Koga, like, that type of bullshit, and I'm like, fuck you, man.
Yeah. But yeah, and then in Let's Go they made it easier by having fog that shows where the fucking invisible tiles are.
Oh yeah, so they did make it a little bit easier in Let's Go. That's right.
Yeah.
So props to them for doing that for us. We didn't fully deserve that,
Yeah. And then there's what's another good old puzzle? I can't think of anything.
There was an ice puzzle. I can't remember which one that is.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going to ask you about. What's your opinion on the puzzles where it's like one giant sheet of ice that you can only step on each tile once, and you have to get them all cracked before you can progress?
I don't like that.
I like it. I'm probably in the minority. I'm like the one person who likes that kind of puzzle.
What? That wasn't in a Pokemon game though, right?
No, it was. It was in Gen 3. It was in the Liza and Tate, I think.
Totally forgot about. Actually, Gen 3 is the one I have not played in a long ass time. That's pretty much.
That's fair.
So yeah, I mean, with Gen 9, like, I'm hoping that they improve the gym experience. I do like how the gym leaders were involved, like, a lot in Sword and Shield. But they got to improve, like, the story just a tad. Because you felt like you were barely involved in that. Like, I remember there was, like, a particular cutscene where there's, like, a bunch of explosions happening off screen. And the trainer's like, what the fuck's going on over there? And they're like, yeah, don't worry about that. We'll take care of that.
Yeah,
like, did they really just do that?
I mean, yeah, it was. I mean, to be fair, it kind of showed that it was kind of just made out to build up Leon. Like, you guys are like, oh, what? There's explosions here. What do we do? And then Leon just comes in and is like, oh, don't worry, I'll handle it.
I'll handle it.
And then in the final battle against him at the championship, he has an attack that damages his own Pokemon. And you're like, how has this man gone undefeated for like 20 years or something?
Was it his battle? There was somebody I struggled with though.
Probably Raihan, the 8th gym leader.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one that I
was somewhat
struggled
tough.
Yeah, because he used like weather and stuff to his advantage. That's his whole strategy, is he uses weather and stuff.
But yeah, I mean there's gonna be like a lot of, if they use a lot of that stuff, or if they go like the same like stadium role or whatever, for like the gyms, I would like that spectacle, but just like, you know, the involvement of the gym leader as well as like those puzzles just improved. I'm good with that.
Yeah. Do you think that Juan will show up? Juan, who has been in exactly one Pokemon game and then completely forgotten from the canon.
Wait, who?
He okay, so in Pokemon Emerald they decided for some reason to make Wallace the champion instead of Steven. And so to replace him, they put in his mentor, Juan, and he's only been in Pokemon Emerald and no other game. Except for
at the gym?
Yeah, at the gym. Except for Black 2 and White 2 where he appears in the World Tournament.
I like the World Tournament thing.
Yes, I love
One. Okay, yes. All right. So I did not play Emerald. I only played Ruby, and I forgot that they made those minor changes.
Yeah.
Wow. One.
Yeah. Justice,
you know who I'd like to
for
see
Juan.
come back though, but like, I'd love to see the main character from Gold and Silver just pop up. I guess his name is Gold, right?
I think it's Ethan. It used to be Gold, but then they changed it to Ethan.
They changed it fully to Ethan.
Yeah, they changed it to Ethan when Heart Gold Soul Silver came out.
Well then, Ethan needs to return.
Yeah.
I think there's like a lot of, you know, this romanticism around red.
Yeah.
And blue. Or green, depending on which game you're playing.
As I have said before, in this very blunt and not eloquently put terms, Game Freak needs to lay off the Charizard cock.
They did it with Arceus. He's not in that game at all.
Yes! Yes!
I'm so surprised by that.
I'm so surprised that he isn't in that game. I didn't even realize. I've sunk like how many hours into that, and I didn't even realize he was gone. And he will not be missed.
The original starters are actually nowhere to be seen.
Good.
Or actually, there's no other starters aside. Well, no, that's a lie.
No,
there's like Chimchar and so there's the ones from
There's the Sinnoh
Diamond.
starters, and then there's the
Yeah.
starters that they put in that game,
Right,
which
and
were
that's
all
it.
over the place. Yeah,
That's it. Right.
that's good.
So they got one from Johto, actually. So I forgot that Cyndaquil was in there, which is good because
Yep.
I think Johto needs some love on occasion.
Yeah, I love the Johto games. I don't know why. I really love the Ruins of Alph a lot.
Yeah,
Probably
because
yeah.
like when you play Gold and Silver, you notice that they're trying to include a lot more features, and they made the Johto side feel a lot more alive than the Kanto side.
Yeah.
Because when you go back, and I know the Kanto is kind of like a post game type of thing, but when you go back there, it's just hilarious, like how empty it feels, and everybody's like, "Yeah, we're still here. Let's fight, let's battle." You know, Johto's feels a lot more like you have the ruins going on, and the the unknown mini games, and you have like the caverns and the burnt towers, which are super interesting. I think, like
Yeah.
the burnt
And-
tower and the other tower. I love the
Bell
lore
Tower.
behind all of that.
Yeah, same here. I guess this is just further proof that you need to make a gold and silver video.
Oh, I know. Maybe soon. Maybe sometime soon.
Maybe sometime soon. I better cameo in that video for how long it's been hyped up.
Oh gosh. So Gen 9, I hope. I wonder how, like what the new Pokemon are gonna be like. I'm surprised that they can still think of any Pokemon. Some people are saying that these guys look like Fakeamon, and that's
Well,
always
they
the
say
case.
they say that. Okay, I'm just gonna say this right now. Every time a new Pokemon generation comes out, everyone says that they look like Fakeamon. They said that for Gen 8. They said that for Gen 7. They said that for Gen 6. They've been saying that for years. It's the same thing as like when a new Minecraft update comes out and everyone plays it and they're like, "Oh, this feels like a mod. This isn't Minecraft." Get used to it. You have plenty of time to get used to it because it's in the game. It's not changing anything. Get over it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as always, though, they're going to buy it anyway, and the complaints are going to stop, and then we'll move on with life. And it's going to be the highest selling Pokemon game of all time.
And National Dexters will continue to be the most insufferable people on the planet.
But yeah, I mean I think that's all that we know at the moment. I think the biggest news to take out of all this is that it seems to be pretty fleshed out, like as a game. It doesn't look like it's gonna be released later this year. I think we forgot to mention that.
Yeah, it's going to be released fall 2022. I think we mentioned that it would be later this year, but we didn't mention the time.
Which is why I have my bets. I'm placing bets. I'm saying it right now on the podcast. They're moving Breath of the Wild to winter 2023.
Oh, really?
I'm gonna place my bets on that.
Interesting. Well, I mean, yeah, we haven't heard anything about that, but knowing our track record and our luck on this show, the second we stop recording, they're going to say Breath of the Wild 2 is coming
direct.
out. Yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 direct. It's just going to be 40 minutes of Breath of the Wild 2, and then at the end of it, they're going to be like, you can play this later today. And then you're just going to be like, oh, well, I guess I'll go fuck myself then.
I mean,
And
Robin,
then
it's Nintendo. They never say that those games are ready to play today. I would love that, though. I would love, like, Rockstar or some big studio, like, all right, here's the trailer for Grand Theft Auto 6. It's available today.
Yeah. I would love to see a company do that just because they can. You know?
Right.
Like, imagine like, what is it? Let me think of a good example. Okay, imagine like this new Donkey Kong game that you are convinced exists that I'm not so sure of is announced, and then they do a trailer for it, and they're like, you can buy this right after we're done with the presentation.
I don't know why. I don't know why we don't do that.
Yeah, probably because you want to build hype and get sales hype going.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I think that marketing strategy is kind of risky overall. Just to say, okay, let's just drop it today. But I mean, okay, how about this? Like, it's available next week or 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, I can see them doing that for sure.
But
like,
I don't know if Nintendo will ever do that, but I want a big studio to do it. Just like the only other thing I can compare it to is that one time that Beyonce just dropped an album one day. She's like, "Hi, I have an album that's available now." And then like after that, like artists started to just do those surprise drops because it worked out for her. But
yeah,
you know, like she's a big artist, and normally it's kind of unprecedented that you would just decide, okay, well today I'm just dropping this album, a full ass album I've been working on. I would like to see the game industry do that too. I don't know, just to see what the response would be like. Because I'm tired of like seeing trailers and like these CGI movies, which has been happening less these days.
which is good.
Which is good. I'm glad that they found out we're fed up with that shit. But yeah, like I'm tired of seeing these things, and then they're like, yeah, we're working on it, and then we don't hear about it for like 5-6 years.
Yeah, and the worst, I think what's worse than the CGI trailers though are the ones where like it's a multiplayer game and they pretend that they're like people playing it, but they're obviously on a script.
Oh God, you know,
like,
Ubisoft was like notorious for that.
Yeah, Ubisoft did it. I think Anthem was the last one to really do it that was noteworthy.
Oh yes, it was. Yeah, that one was bad. But before that, the one that was before that was The Division, the first one.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go back to it because it's like it's really cringe, and I like to watch cringe stuff from time to time. But like, check out this trailer, and then it's like, all right, guys, I'm gonna scope this out for any baddies. All right, let us know what you find. I'm deploying my drone over here. All right, there's an enemy on your 6. Okay, get in position. Nobody talks like that, you know, and like the fact that
no, if it were a real voice chat, they would have said, "Hey, dumb fuck, get the guy. It's right there. What are you, idiot? Deploy your shit."
Or there's just no talking, and it's like, wait. There's people here. I'm getting shot. Yeah. I'm getting jumped.
Or someone like with a soundboard, like just responding to people in Freddie Mercury quotes.
You know what I would love to actually, just like a redone version of that Division gameplay trailer with like some shitty rap music playing in the background, because like, you know how those people work on Call of Duty where they have this music playing in the back with their mics on. So yeah, I would love that. While like, I don't know if that's actually a thing. I wonder if someone did that on Anthem. I think somebody actually made a parody for the Anthem trailer on that.
Maybe
I double check.
Maybe tonight or tomorrow I'll like watch that Division trailer and then get you in a call with some other friends and we can like riff.
Truly analyze these trailers. Maybe we should start doing that. Like, we'll have a little segment on the podcast where we take like E3 trailers. I mean, they're less cringy now because we don't do E3 and stuff like that anymore.
Yeah, E3 kind of like, once COVID happened, it was amongst one of the things that COVID took out back in old Yellard was E3.
Yeah. I mean, people were discussing that for a good while anyway. Like, it was on its way out. I think COVID expedited a lot of things.
E3 was like a dying old man, and COVID came along. That's a little dark. I probably shouldn't say that.
I mean, I guess, like, in a sense, though, Nintendo was, like, ahead of the game on one thing for some strange reason. Because I remember when they pulled out, everybody was like, what?
What? Yeah,
we're doing our show on the internet, bro. You guys are here every single day. Like, what's going on? Just use it.
Yeah.
But I think the sad part about that is no more cringe compilations.
No more drunk Jesse Wellens at the EA press conference.
Yeah. I thought he was like just completely nervous.
I think it was both. He was nervous and he was like a little bit buzzed because he had drank something to help calm his nerves.
Right, and then the wires just weren't connecting at the right time.
No,
I think that's happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's even like I that's my suggestion to people out there. If you guys have friends who are getting married and stuff, and you have to talk at that wedding, make sure you don't drink anything beforehand. Even if you know, like, oh my God, these are my friends or my family or whatever. Just make sure, like, even if you're good at winging it, just don't drink anything beforehand, because then you're gonna mess it up.
you're gonna be the story that they tell everyone for years at all the parties. You don't want
Nobody wants to be that story.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, anything else on Pokemon really? Like, do we know anything else on Gen 9? I haven't really done my homework.
We really don't know anything. It's like they announced that they were making it, and people went crazy, and VP is probably filled with a bunch of fake leaks. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah.
I mean, my final speculation on this, based like outside of what we know about the trailer, I honestly think that we're gonna spend a lot more time in between villages and stuff or towns, which is great. I think that there's a lot of once you like go through one route in past games, you never see that route again, unless you're really like hunting down Pokemon. But if you're playing casually, chances like you have no reason to go revisit those places. So I think that with a format like this, and based on my experience with Legends Arceus, like it's gonna encourage us to utilize those spaces a lot more, which is gonna be good. And I think they're clearly gonna take the whole catching mechanisms from Arceus. We've already seen screenshots of people battling just in the open, so it's gonna be a seamless transition into that too, like Arceus, which all are great quality of life changes. And my final speculation is that it's going to be janky, but people are going to buy it, and it's going to be the highest selling. It's going to beat out Sword and Shield, in my opinion.
Yeah, probably. But, yeah. So, speaking of hyped games, time for you to tell me something that I don't know anything about.
Yeah, so let me talk about Elden Ring.
Yes.
I am not a person that's trying to be a contrarian. Let me just preface this by saying that. I'm not trying to be someone that hates things that people like, etc., etc. Because I did buy the game, and it was a rough start at first. I have a lot of experience in the Souls games ever since Demon Souls, like for the PS3. So, like, not to be a hipster, but I've been playing this series like way before a lot of this stuff even got popular, right? So I have a lot of experience with like From Software and what they've been putting out, their ideas, and how, where they've decided to take things. And Elden Ring came out, and everybody like gave it 10 out of 10 across the board, and I can't agree with that. I think this game deserves, I mean, I wouldn't be like I wouldn't even bash anyone that gave it a 9, but I think this game is kind of like in the 8 region, and I'll tell you why. Definitely a well-built game. From Software knocks it out the park with everything that they have. I think that Bloodborne's a great game. Sekiro is a great game. The difficulty is nothing to sneeze at. Elden Ring is very difficult, but now it's open world, and you get to like experience those little Dark Souls feelings in like very small, I guess in small bits and pieces in a large open world. And much like Breath of the Wild, you can go to different places, and your time there is probably going to be like a few minutes. You're not going to spend a lot of time in one area unless it's like a main dungeon or something, or like some story-based place you're going to go. But there's a lot of places you can explore on the map and just kind of find cool stuff. There's a lot more items laying around, and I think that's great. I think there's a lot of quality of life changes too that make this game a lot better than the previous Soul games. You can jump. That's new too. I mean, in the Dark Souls setting at least. But I do think that the reviewers, something was happening there where like everybody's like, yeah, we can't give this thing anything less than a 10. And I'm shocked at that, Robin, because we just discussed like last week, like the Souls games people, or they called it the hardest thing since some other game. Like, this is the hardest game I've ever played. Like, they were saying that because they're game reviewers and they enjoyed it. But I'm just kind of shocked that everybody gave it a 10 out of 10 because I'm seeing a lot of bugs, and I'm cool with them. I'll let it slide. But I think that there was something going on with these outlets where they just said, this is just the most hype game of the year, and I'm going to give it a 10. I have nothing to back that thought process with, but I don't know. I just don't see the 10 out of 10 here.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I wish I was the oh, what are you talking about? This game is so good guy, but I'm like I'm genuinely like someone who does not care for Dark Souls at all, and to quote this funny edit I saw of a Jason Schreier tweet, from what I can tell, Elden Ring is Breath of the Wild Dark Souls.
Which it is. Like, there's clearly a lot of influence here. I mean, I hate comparing everything to Breath of the Wild because open world was a thing before Breath of the Wild was a thing.
Yeah, it's like
I think this is the closest to Breath of the Wild that like all these other copycats did. Like,
I think it's. Can I just say? I think it's really funny that everyone compares every game ever to both Breath of the Wild and Dark Souls, and now we have a Breath of the Wild Dark Souls.
So I hope Breath of the Wild 2, it has like Dark Souls difficulty. Then we've come full circle. But I guess with Elden Ring, right? It's very close to Breath of the Wild because the navigation works exactly the same. You have like these little shrines, you go in, you'll defeat a little boss in there. In the sense of like Breath of the Wild, you were just completing a puzzle. But, you know, for this, you go in, you fight a little boss, you get like an item, and you move on with life. And you can hop into little places like, and there's no like huge sense of navigation. You just get on your horse and you just go there. You just kind of look around and find things, much like Breath of the Wild. There's not a lot of other open world games that do it that way. I mean, in a sense where there's like no navigation necessary. You don't have that marker like, hey, this is where you have to go next. I think Breath of the Wild kind of like innovated by doing that. And it was smart development, you know, where you always kind of knew where to go. And even if you didn't, there was always something to run into at every point. So yeah, that's the comparison that I'm making in a sense. But yeah, something about this game, like I love it. I think it's a spectacular game. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. I think there are just a lot of things that are rough around the edges. I honestly do not like Dark Souls bosses. I understand difficulty, and I'm not complaining about difficulty whatsoever. But the most optimal way for it sometimes is for me to take either big risks, or if I want to play it safe, which is what everyone tells you to do most of the time, take your time. Don't let this beat you. Every boss is beatable. Trust me. Like, you'll see all these tips on Twitter and stuff, but the optimal way of doing that is to dodge like an insane amount of combos and attack patterns. And then there's like a brief second where you can capitalize. If you take any other risk outside of that moment, you're probably putting yourself at risk and you might get got. But I criticize it because like that's the new thing. They're like, okay, well, let's make these bosses with ridiculous combos, and you have to navigate around the combos and play defensively. It's kind of hard to change up your approach if that's like what the boss does, you know? Like, there's a lot of diversity to the characters. You can use magic, you can use range attacks, you can use melee and all this other stuff, but if you have the boss that's just flailing around like a crazy person, you have to like really capitalize in that moment and just kind of figure that out. And I think it's a little mentally intensive sometimes.
It sounds like a puzzle game where they have all of these different types of puzzles, but the solution to the puzzle is the same each time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. You know, yeah. So like each boss has different movements and mechanics to it, right? But I cannot say, hey, oh, wow, I figured you out. You'll never really have that moment. It's like, oh, I'm dodging. Oh, okay, well, I kind of get the attack pattern. Let me dodge a little bit more. So I honestly like bosses, funny enough, like in the Zelda vein, or maybe like the older, like not necessarily Breath of the Wild, but like in the Zelda vein where there was like that weakness that you had to figure out. What tool should I use for this moment? I kind of like figuring out bosses like that as a puzzle, as opposed to, okay, this is the time where I got to roll, and this is the time where I got to block, and this is the time that I got to attack. I think that, you know, the Souls games would do well or by innovating in the future if they incorporate that into that difficulty a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I think I get what you mean.
But yeah, not to have anybody pissed off at me, I'm playing Elden Ring right in this moment in time alongside everybody else, and I'm enjoying it. So there's no hatred toward the game. I do think that there's a few things that could be a little bit better. I do not think that this is the perfect game that everybody thinks it is. I've run into a ton of bugs. I was stuck in a stone column one time. No way for me to get out. Like, I'm literally inside the cylinder. And, like, I have to ask myself, like, this is 10 out of 10? You know? So, I mean, again, what is 10 out of 10? Everyone says there's no perfect game, but when it's close to perfect, it deserves a 10, right? Everyone's scared to give things a 10 for that reason. But, I mean, I don't think this is it. But it's very close. Like, it's an 8, close 9 for me. And I think it deserves the praise, but just seeing it like overwhelmingly just knock everything out the park with 10 out of 10s, I don't know. I find that hard to believe. And I think if any other game had the same bugs, these reviewers would be going in on it.
Mentok, I don't know what I want to use it for, but can I just take a sample from this episode of you saying I'm stuck in the cylinder and use it for something in the future? Because that sentence is just really funny to me.
We'll just upload like a different like.
Just upload a clip of you saying I'm stuck in the cylinder.
I'm stuck in a cylinder, and there's like a badly made 3D model of me just in this badly made pillar. Not even like a Dark Souls one. Just the easiest cylinder that you can make in Blender.
Yeah, I should ask boss that.
So, and then just have it like in what's a very cliche place to have it? Just have it like in,
just the basic Unity gray area.
That's what I was gonna say. Like just the basic Unity gray area, but you just have a bird's eye view of my avatar, badly made, inside a very basic cylinder. I would love to see that. I'm stuck in the cylinder.
Better yet, someone out there make like a full blown remix of him saying that. I don't know why. Just him. When you said like I'm stuck in the cylinder, I couldn't focus on what the rest of what you were saying because I was trying to hold back laughter.
Hey, you know what I want to? Like, can I get a remix of that in mumble rap format? 2021 mumble rap format. I know we're in 2022. I'm not sure if a lot of songs have come out in the last 2 months. So, 2021 mumble rap format. I'm stuck in the cylinder. By the Mentok. Let's hear it.
That's great.
Should we get political?
Oh,
do we do that?
Oh no. What do you? Okay, how about this? We'll get political here, and then if I decide later on that I don't want this in the footage, we'll just have Ricky just put a giant bleep over the entire conversation. Not even cut it out. Just
don't cut it out.
So,
just bleep the whole thing
just
out.
Just bleep the whole conversation.
You guys better listen to it.
Yeah, you got to listen to the whole thing. We need to add revenue that we don't have.
We need to get monetized.
Yeah.
Help us get monetized by watching our demonetized content.
Yeah. All right, go for it.
I mean, I just wanted to speak from like a factual point of view, but
okay,
we haven't acknowledged it, right? Like, there's this huge fight going on in Ukraine with Russia involved, right?
Yes.
And I feel like this is a very interesting time because so we learn about war like in school, and I think that we have this very romanticized outlook on the world wars. Like, some tyrant came up and we knocked them down. I think World War I to a lesser extent, but like, World War II, like, I don't know. Can you say Hitler without getting demonetized? It's not like we're being monetized anyway.
We're not monetized. Go for it. I don't care.
Whatever. I'm just used to my own channel. So yeah, I mean, like, Hitler's always like posed as this bad guy, and he's like the main villain of the World War II arc. But then like you get to, Vietnam, and like the U.S. is very awkward about that.
Yeah, like in schools, like they talk about how there was a Vietnam War and people didn't like it, and then they don't really go in much more detail.
Yeah, like it's crazy how much we don't know about the situation in Vietnam when we learn about it, and I never really thought about that or second guessed that until I just brought it up.
Yeah,
because
I know.
I can tell you everything about like World War One and Two and like the people involved and what spurned those on. But like Vietnam's an awkward one, right? And I can
Yeah,
imagine like the same's gonna happen if it's not already happening with new kids in school with Afghanistan and Iraq.
yeah. Which yeah, like I have some feelings on that, but I don't want to get into that.
Yeah,
It's like
like
yeah, those of you who don't know, I lived on Fort Knox for a while because my dad was in the military. So
so first-hand experience or
yeah,
second-hand technically.
second hand.
Second-hand experience from you.
Yeah, kind
Um,
of.
But yeah, I'm bringing this up because like each war that we kind of highlight, where I mean the U.S. is kind of involved, but not really, right? But um, each era it just becomes super different, like very different with the same outcomes. Um,
Yeah,
like World War II was this huge thing that everybody came together to everybody kind of came together to stop like Germany and Japan had its own like little thing going on at the same damn time. And then like you have Vietnam, which is like a regime thing. And then kind of similar thing going on in Afghanistan under the pretense of going after terrorism, and then the same thing with Iraq,
yeah,
which we can debate that to kingdom come about. I just honestly think that America was hyped up and ready to go after people, and we didn't think it through.
yeah,
Um, so like all of those wars happened, and they're kind of still happening until like I don't even think we're fully pulled out of Iraq or whatever. But this new thing comes along now where Russia decides to go into Ukraine, and the entire world is behind Ukraine on this. And
yeah.
it just seems like I don't know if this is a black and white thing, but it looks very black and white. And I think there's a lot more complicated politics going on there, especially understanding Putin and who that guy is, and like what he's been planning this for a long time. This is nothing new because he already like seized one other area, Crimea, from them like a few years ago.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that it was so easy for him to do that, he thought that he could take like the rest of the country in a similar fashion.
The way it looks like is that I will say that yes, Ukraine is doing a good job fighting back, but the way the Russian military works is that they just kind of they just throw men at the problem. So
Yeah.
like even though yes, Ukraine is doing a good job fighting back, I saw an updated map and it looked like Russia had advanced further than the last map I saw. So unfortunately, they are gaining ground.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like I see that Ukraine, like there's a lot of I'll just say this right now, like everybody out there keeping tabs on this situation, just be very skeptical about what you read for the next few weeks, because everything is going to come out overwhelmingly like biased information is going to be coming out. And I'm not saying that like to scrutinize anybody's story or anything like that, but there's already like a few reports of things that have happened and people are like, yeah, that's not true.
Yeah.
So,
and can I just say something that pisses me off like a lot about this is all these like wannabe communist revolutionaries being like, oh yeah, this is so good, Russia's doing the good thing, oh, go communism, when Russia hasn't been a communist nation for decades. They're literally
right.
like a capitalist nation.
Yes, exactly. But like, and all of a sudden, I don't know what the deal is with this now. And then like even in our own country now, there's like certain politicians like, so how about Putin, huh?
It's like
Yeah.
it's like I'm sorry, didn't you just spend 4 years demonizing him? You can't
Yeah.
you can't no, you can't turn your back on that. No.
So there's a lot of interesting things. Like I think it's definitely gonna affect the world. Even though it's between two countries right now, the fact that the U.S. is imposing sanctions and all the rest of Europe are imposing sanctions on Russia.
And Ukraine is actually applying for EU status, and they're close to getting it. So
they're
if that
doing
happens,
that.
Yeah. So if at least
Oh,
that's what yeah, that's what Tassos, my Greek friend, shared with me in my server. It looks like they're going to be like, the EU had an application and Zelensky signed it, and if they actually enter the EU, then every Ukrainian refugee will have free movement,
Yes.
throughout all of the EU, and they will also be able to send troops to help them, like
Yeah,
EU
and
troops.
they'd be protected by EU, and I'm not sure if that constitutes the same as like a being part of NATO, because if that's the case, then yeah, like everybody's gonna have to come in and help.
Yeah,
Um,
which that'll be big. It'll get like the whole, like, it won't just be like Ukraine. It'll be like the whole EU, which might lead to American involvement as well.
oh, there'll definitely have to be American involvement.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
yeah, that's and our president has already said that. So
yeah,
I would hate for I would like Ukraine. I would like Russia to back down so that we can just get back to like some status quo.
I want,
'Cause-
you know, you know how like a few episodes back we were talking about how the FBI and the CIA like to make people disappear under mysterious circumstances.
Yes.
I hope that Putin dies under mysterious circumstances from a heart attack.
From food poisoning.
From food poisoning, a heart attack, a suicide, which he definitely seems like the least suicidal person on the planet.
I wonder if it's like a form of like dementia or something happening right now.
I don't know.
Because
I think
just he's a lot older than he looks.
Yeah, I think some people think it might be like a religious thing, where like he has like some like religious, like, I don't know the whole thing about that, but yeah, I just heard that might be something, but you know, again, a lot of misinformation. Don't take what I say as facts, but yeah.
Yeah, and like as every tragic thing that it comes our way, much like COVID, everybody talks about like, oh well, I hope this blows over soon. I honestly think we're too far in for this to blow over anytime soon.
Yeah, I think
I don't want to be a pessimist, but like not only are we tanking the Russian economy, which is going to have an effect on the world and all of that stuff in the coming future.
yeah,
Ukraine as a country is going to have to keep resisting invasion. If they become a part of the EU and Europe joins in, then that's our ass too. And I say our because I speak from an American perspective, but like this is probably affecting some listeners out there too. But yeah, I think this like if Putin really had this personality where he's like fuck it, there's a lot of ways that he can actually just say fuck it,
yeah.
And
I think
that's the scary part.
I think he's already threatened nukes.
Yeah, like he's already been talking about it, and North Korea does that all the time too. But
Yeah.
I think that Putin has more backing with that. So
Yeah.
like. And even Russia is going through a lot of protests. So
Yeah,
there's going to
which
be
is-
like civilian uprising, especially as the money slowly starts to drain out the economy. And he's already stated that he would take it directly from the citizens' pockets to fund himself.
Yeah.
When people start going hungry, hopefully it's before that. Like it's gonna be a wild ride in there.
It's going to be yet another Russian Revolution at some point.
Yeah. And that's such like a powerful culture. Like I really hope that they get things together over there.
Yeah.
I think Putin's time is up, honestly. Like
Yeah, I think a lot of people over there are getting pretty sick of him.
on one end, like we're still in the middle of this conflict. So it sucks because there's gonna be a lot of shitty things that are gonna come Russia's way like in the next few months.
Yeah.
But like also I optimistically I see the opportunity for change for them and rebuilding. And I say rebuilding because this economic thing is going to slap them in the face for quite some time. It's going to hit. So
Yep.
that's where we are with that. I mean, I feel like we had to acknowledge it. Some people go to channels to avoid like, world politics and stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
I've been keeping tabs on it, and it's definitely something to take a look at. It's like an interesting time because just like every other war fought before it, it's going to be very different. And just the whole idea that we all have nukes now,
Yeah.
it makes things like a little nerve wracking because we never thought that these countries that are like on the top of the world stage would just decide to just take territory. And like China can possibly do that too with Taiwan and Hong Kong. Like if this like succeeds and they're like, oh, nobody's gonna do anything about this, all right, let me just go get those too.
I think they're already starting to do that with Hong Kong, though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're already like exercising more control over them when Hong Kong has been kind of autonomous for most of its time.
Yeah, that's gonna be like a very quiet assimilation.
Yeah,
like,
it's like,
all
it's
the
gonna,
protests.
yeah.
Like I think the peak of the protests are done because they either arrested everybody or CIA'd them.
Yeah,
And like you're just gonna have like a bunch of people slowly entering the government that are pro-China, and it's just gonna become a culture now. Like it's gonna be like an extension of China after a while, which kind of sucks because it's a very rich culture over there, based around that democratic process, and it was like a nice. I think it just differentiated itself very much from like China, and yeah, like here we are.
I remember when those protests were going on. I remember seeing like this interview someone did with like a local there, who was like out protesting, and he was like saying in the best English he could muster, we must defend ourselves from Nazi China. He didn't even call them communists. He called them Nazis. It was crazy.
It's fascinating to me how Nazism is coming back.
Yeah, it's
in a
interesting.
sense.
It's interesting and scary.
I've seen like very staunch nationalists in the U.S. like waving Nazi flags, which goes against everything patriotic from back in the day too. Like I don't understand how people can comfortably do that. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
So that's kind of like, I don't know. Like that's why and just to shift briefly into American politics, like I honestly don't like a lot of the choices that we have, or like the choices that the American people gravitate toward. And I'm not like a huge part of the political process, but I definitely go out and vote, right? And I just think that the people that can make a change don't want to make one, and oftentimes they're the ones that are not voting, and then like all the passionate people are making like the dumbest decisions. And we see like people across the US voting in shitty representatives, shitty senators who are like clearly hypocritical and just like only talk about things when it benefits them. And I'm talking about both sides of the aisle too. Like it's just, there's a lot of malpractice, I guess, for lack of a better word. And I could easily see like a Putin situation happening here when you elect a smart dumb person, like if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If you were to like this, like, no offense to anyone that liked our last president, but like we got a dumb president, and he got away with a lot of stuff. Like if there's a smart dumb president that comes around, it could be bad, and like anyway, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think we should probably leave it there.
We can leave it there.
Yeah. This has been a roller coaster of an episode.
It has. We went from like Pokemon Gen 9 to political. I didn't even mean to like get that far into this.
Yeah, no, it's all good, man. It filled up 20 minutes.
But yeah, like as you guys know, we like to discuss opinions around here. I'm like in the fence where anyone can disagree with me and I'm cool with it. Like, and I'm willing to discuss it or not discuss it. I would never like diss anyone's character or anything like that for what they believe. Well, even when it comes to politics or games, because I know that shit gets like, this game industry gets hot too. So yeah, so I just want to make that clear. Like, this is the type of podcast we have here. So
yeah. So, usually we just talk about fun stuff or bitch about the Game Grumps, but we wanted to talk about this today, and I'm glad you brought it up.
Can't wait till Game Grumps fans see our last episode.
Yeah.
It'd be funny, like it'd be funny if like we got more hate for the Game Grumps episode than me like talking briefly about American politics in the last couple of minutes.
Yeah. That would be really funny, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see for whenever our show blows up, I guess.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, leave some comments about like Gen 9. What do you guys think of the Pokemon?
What do you think of the Elden rings? What do you
think of the Elden rings?
Let's face it, if we get comments on this video, it's going to be destroyed by Ukraine talk.
Well, if you guys want to talk about that, hopefully we're in a better place when you guys are leaving that content.
Hopefully. Hopefully. But yes, I think that's it for today.
All right, let's call it. Bring us home.
All right. Thank you all for watching today's all over the place episode of whenever episode. What is this, 17?
I've lost count officially.
I think I've officially lost count too, so I guess we're done counting.
All right, so this was an episode.
This was an episode. Thank you for joining. We will see you all later.
Peace.